Today, we're going to be checking out the Pepers pedals Rot. I've had a lot of different stuff from Pepper's Pedals on here. I have loved everything they've done. Tony is an awesome builder and a guy that just genuinely loves both pedals and various forms of metal and recreating awesome metal sounds. And I've been following this a long time. I've been seeing his various prototypes, hearing the results, and I've been very excited for this. So the Pepper's Pedals Rot, or the PP Rot, as the community has started calling it, and I just love the nickname. Unintentional, hilarious name. What is this? It's essentially a preamp distortion. I way prefer this as a preamp, and it's got a lot more going on than it looks like. Essentially, this is Obituary sound in a box. That big, huge wall of sound, almost kind of fuzzy, really unique death metal tone. Like, I can't think of anyone else in death metal that sounds like Obituary. So what is this pedal exactly? Well, essentially, it is a modified tube screamer hitting a rat circuit going into a JCM 800 tone stack. So you'll see on the outside, you have the, bass, middle, treble, the level control, and then the rot control, which is the overall gain control. And it just immediately gets you that super dooming, kind of droning, almost, doom death sound. And of course, if you max this thing out, it will do droning doom tones all day. But it's more than just these controls. On the inside, you have some other controls. So let's start with those. For the tube screamer, this is essentially a modified tube screamer, and it has the standard controls, level, tone, gain. And it comes set with the level all the way up, the tone at noon, and the gain all the way off. I ended up bumping the tone just a little bit because I like a little bit more cut, but it sounds great as is. Then you'll notice there's a switch there, and that'll go from a standard rat circuit over to a turbo rat. And if you do this, not only will you get a volume bump, it's just going to get way more dooming. It's going to have a ton more low end. It's going to be a lot more compressed. If you want some doom tones, you might want to flick this on to the turbo rat setting. And then you'll notice there's one other little control. That essentially is a tone roll-off that goes after everything. It comes all the way rolled off. It's pretty subtle, but you'll be able to hear it when I mess around with it outside of a mix. It'll just kind of add some more top end if you feel like that you need it or that it's missing or anything, but I didn't feel that way at all. All right, so like I said, a lot going on. Tube screamer, a couple of different rat variants, a JCM 800 tone stack. You have essentially a tone filter at the end of it. There's just a ton going on and crammed in this little pedal that looks awesome too. I think the artwork on this, along with that glowing LED, really captures like 90s death metal artwork aesthetic, especially like Obituary. So that is 100% enough talking about this thing. Let's hear it. Let's hear how much it really does nail that Obituary sound. Like I said, I prefer this as a preamp, so it's going to go into my KSR PA50 power amp. And that's going to be going into my Two Notes Captor X, which has a IR blend of my DV77 and VM1265 speakers. And I'm using my LTD black metal guitar with the black winter pickups in it. Let's check it out. Obituary in a box. How cool is this thing? Like, Tony always nails it. Everything he puts out sounds great and is just awesome. But man, have I been looking forward to this. And this is absolutely one of my favorite preamp pedals. I mean, there's tons of like awesome modern metal preamp pedals out there, and I have a couple of my favorites. And there's some good, you know, various 90s death metal amp preamp pedals out there, and I also like those. But I haven't heard anything get close to this, especially because those pedals are all going after like amp sounds or something. This is an amp sound with a tube screamer and a couple of rat circuits to get a very, very specific and niche sound. And he 100% nailed it. I'm so stoked on this thing. I think any fans of 90s death metal or Obituary should check this thing out. And even if you're not, if you're into like more doom kind of tones, this is doom metal in a box. So I would definitely check this out. I'm going to have a link down below for this or anything else over at Pepers Pedals. Get yourself a PP rod. Thanks for watching. Stay metal.